Good morning, I'm Ryan with Harlow Custom Microgreens, and today we're back out on the farm plot. As you can see behind me, we're standing in front of the bed rows that we built last week, and we're going to be trying something a little bit different with two of these rows. Now, biochar is well known as an amazing additive. However, it's something we've not used here on the farm, mainly because of the expense. But recently there's a farm nearby that's kind of gotten into making biochar with the byproducts of some of their other income streams, and they were like, hey, we have this biochar, you want to give it a shot? And I was like, sure. So biochar is well known for holding nutrients, holding moisture, enriching the soil, and having the ability to pull like heavy metals out. So we're going to introduce some to our beds and see how things go. And if it works out and we have a positive result, we'll be inoculating all of our beds with it. But first we've got a little chopping to do. So I wasn't sure what the application rate was or what the optimal size of the char should be. Stuff that we got was kind of, I don't know, it's large. It's bigger than it should be, I know that. Apparently the application rate breaks down to be about a half a pound per 50-foot row, but also the optimal size is half of a millimeter to 2 millimeters in size per chunk. And when I did them, I had to convert that because I don't speak millimeters. It was like 0.08 inches, which is, again, really not a usable number. So consulting the measuring tape, 2 millimeters is basically a wood chip or an extremely small particle. So we're going to take a T-post and we're going to chop this bucket full of biochar up and get it ready to go. We should need about half of what's in the bucket to apply to the two beds behind me, and then we'll get those seeded out today. And the other thing that we're doing today is playing a little bit of catch up. I had a plan to get the irrigation in by Friday. I didn't make Friday, so we're going to do it on Sunday. It's a pretty quick process. We just have to run some poly line, connect it on one end, and put up our post and put in our sprinkler heads and give it a test. It really doesn't take much time. The most difficult part is actually getting the poly line to slide on to the nipple at the irrigation head. And because we're out in the field, I don't have a power source nearby. In order to heat the line enough to get it to slide over the nipple, basically I'm going to put it in the exhaust of the truck and let it run for a little while, and that should heat the pipe up enough to where I can slide it on easily and then use a pipe clamp to secure it down. Easy peasy. So let's go ahead and get this biochar chopped up and let's get started. I think it's about right. Might be a little too fine in some cases or a little too big in others, but I think on the average it's about right. And we will need about a half a pound per row. So let's get it done. Okay, we've had the pipe warming up for about 10 minutes or so. We're going to try and get it set on the fitting. Get a little pipe clamp there ahead of time. See if we can't get this pushed on. There we go. Just a little bit more. Perfect. Tighten up the clamp. Now we can roll it out. Okay, so we got the pipe all rolled out. I'm really bad about not moving the camera around while I work. I really am trying to get better about that. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and get this pinned in. And all that really entails is just staking the pipe into place using some yard staples. It keeps them all together, keeps it kind of neat, clean. You can see there's some overlap and stuff in there, but the general idea is to keep them all in one spot, running out to wherever they're going to go. So we're going to go ahead and run pins all the way out and around, and then the last part, and I'll show you that, is we're going to punch holes in the poly line and connect in the sprinklers and give it a quick test. Alright, let's get it done. So for our sprinklers, we're using the mini wobbler setup. These we have found work pretty ideal inside of a hoop house and for 4-bed configurations. And because we're setting all of these beds up to eventually be covered by a hoop house, they're all set up in 4-bed configurations. These have a great spread on them. They throw about 24 feet, even though the inside of the tunnel is 16. You do get a little overspray, but a little overlap between the tunnels or whatever, but it works out pretty good. They sell these nifty little prefab risers. You just nail it or tap it onto the end of some 3/4 inch pipe. We set them about 24 inches out of the ground and about a foot into the ground, so a 3-foot pipe. The little mini wobbler sprayer with the quick attach, and then let's see, this little hose, bring it around so you can see, that little barb will tap into our main poly line, and we'll go ahead and get that done. Okay, this punch is sold by Dripworks. It's meant to go with these barbed heads. It's about 20 bucks. I've tried other ways to put holes in the poly line because I'm cheap, and they just don't work as good. You end up having leaks or crushing the end of the barb trying to get it through the hole. So if you're going to do this, just spring for the punch. I don't know if this is the right way. It's just the way that works for me. So what I do is, using the punch, just kind of center it up on where I want it, pop it through, and then using a set of channel locks that are opened up just about to the right size, I put the channel locks underneath the pipe and then center the barb and then just kind of squeeze it in. It takes a little finessing to get it to pop through. I suppose some people can do it by hand. I just don't have the thumb strength for it anymore, so we're going to use tools. Just pop it right through, just like that. We've got a couple more to do, and then we will cut the end of the pipe and seal it off. Okay, the very last part that we have to do before we test the sprinkler system here is we need to cut the pipe to length. There's some extra. It's just going to get in the way. In the past, I would have left this in case there was something else I wanted to do with it, or maybe I wanted to extend it somewhere, but over time I've learned that it's just not a good idea. It ends up a trip hazard. You get in the way, snag tools, whatever. So we're going to cut it with a tail about here. Just some pipe cutters, cut through it real quick, and then pop it out real quick so we can work with it. We have these little blue plugs that we got from Lowe's. They just slide right in the end, and we're going to borrow Luke McFadden's hammer, if you know you know, and tap that in. There we go. Now we can get it set back in and give them a quick test. I don't want to get the ground too soaked because we are going to seed it today. In fact, we'll probably seed it right after we test this. Let's take a look. So we're going to give this a quick test. Now, we did test all of these connections as much as possible after we got everything hooked up, but you know how things go. So we're going to come into the Rainbird, select station 1. We're going to set it for 1 minute, and let's go make sure everything is good. The system's got pressure on it now. It's starting to run. I don't see any spraying leaks at the moment. It is a little more damp in there than I would like it to be, so I'm going to check station 2. Looks good. Let's go check the sprinklers. Maybe you can see them in the background. Sprinklers seem to be doing their job, and I don't see any leaks in the main line, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off so we can get it seated up. My camera died at some point. I'm not sure how much you got to see. First thing we did was seed some kale in the front half, and then we seeded mixed Asian greens in the back half. And now we've got the sprinklers running for about 25-30 minutes to get it good and soaked in. I'm only going to do one bed today, and then we're going to do some transplanting into the second bed, probably Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll get to the next two beds next week, and that'll kind of give us some successional planting for greens. But that's it for out here in the plot today. We got the biochar pounded up, mixed up and mixed in with the soil, and we got the sprinklers for the irrigation installed, and got some kale and mixed greens. So that's pretty much the morning. Kind of a quick tour of what we got going on the new farm plots. We terminated some greens back there. We've already sold those at market. We've got some arugula coming along over there in the back corner. We're going to finish out those turnips this coming week, and these mixed Asian greens will be in the store as of Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. This is purple cauliflower. It'll be ready this winter. In here we have some leaf lettuce that we're waiting on to mature so we can harvest. Back here we have some of the salad blends that we've been bringing to market. This should be ready to go by this week. You'll see this at market next week. And we're going to cut through the tunnel real quick. So in the tunnel we have some white cauliflower in these two rows, a little bit of arugula left over for the store this coming week. This is what we've already harvested out of it back there in the back. You can see where we've killed it off. Radishes back here. More turnips up here. This bed was salad blend. We've harvested that out twice and took the torch to it. I'm going to put a tarp on it today, and that will finish killing it off. Now let's head up here and dip out of this tunnel, and we can take a look at the rest of the plot. These turnips are looking good. So underneath these 4 bug nets, we have a couple of different types of cabbage. I don't want to uncover them. It's going to take quite a bit of work. But we have some red head cabbage in here, and then there is Caraflex at the far end, which is a small cone head. We have Tiara cabbage next door, and then Boltran, I think it is, and then in the third one right there we have Black Magic kale, which is that dino kale we carried last year. And that last bed that's kind of half uncovered, there's nothing in there just yet. We're going to do some transplanting into that this week. And this tall grass that you see back here in the back, that is Sudan sorghum. We used that as a cover crop this summer just to kind of hold the soil still. That was put in when we didn't have any irrigation in place and didn't know what we were going to do with that space. So we just planted a cover crop to hold the soil and keep it alive while we worked on another solution. The bugs this time of year are starting to relax a little bit. We do still have a problem with caterpillars, but for the most part, the bug pressure is really backing down. This bug netting that you see is not actually for bugs, it's for deer. The mixed greens that we plant can recover pretty quickly if they get a little bit of deer pressure. However, the cabbage and the kale and broccoli and cauliflower, if they get nipped in the early stages, that's it. The plant is done, and it takes several weeks to replace it. So we got this cover on the cabbages as quickly as possible. They're still getting overhead watering through the net. They're coming along pretty good, but the main purpose is to keep the deer out of this part right here. And we have seen quite a bit of deer track traversing through the actual garden space, so that's why we're doing that. But as you can see, these radishes are looking super healthy. Let's pull one out real quick. Looking really good. It's probably going to be part of my lunch today. A little ant pressure there, but still very edible. Good stuff.